how long does it take to destroy the lungs of the planet? Not centuries, not decades. Right now, as you're watching this, 3 football fields of Amazon rainforest are disappearing every single minute. And here's the part that should keep you up at night. Almost nobody with real power is doing anything serious to stop it. The Amazon produces 20% of Earth's oxygen, shelters 30% of all species on the planet, and locks away 86 billion tons of carbon that would otherwise be cooking our atmosphere. It is, without exaggeration, one of the most critical life support systems on Earth, and we are losing it. Not because we don't know, not because the science is unclear. We are losing it because the people who profit from its destruction have more influence than the people trying to save it. This is why nobody wants to save the Amazon, and we are all going to pay for it. To understand why losing the Amazon is so catastrophic, you first have to understand what we're actually talking about. This isn't just a very large forest. The Amazon spans 40% of South America, stretches across 9 countries, and is so massive that it generates its own weather systems. It is the largest tropical rainforest on Earth by a significant margin, and nothing else comes close. And inside it, life exists at a scale that is almost impossible to wrap your head around. The Amazon is home to more plant and animal species than any other terrestrial ecosystem on the planet. Tens of thousands of plant species. Thousands of species of fish, birds, mammals, and reptiles. Many of them still unnamed. Many of them discovered only in the last few decades. Yet the biodiversity packed into this single ecosystem is staggering, and we have barely begun to understand it. But here is where it gets personal. Because the Amazon isn't just important for the animals living inside it, it is directly important for you. Hundreds of prescription drugs used around the world today were developed from plants found in the Amazon rainforest. We are not talking about herbal teas or folk remedies. We are talking about serious, powerful medicines, including cancer-fighting drugs so critical that the World Health Organization has classified them as essential medicines. Treatments that people depend on to survive. And yet, scientists have studied less than 5% of Amazon plant species for their potential medicinal benefits. Less than 5%. The other 95% remain completely unexplored. Yet we have no idea what is in there. We have no idea what diseases those plants could treat, what compounds they contain, or what breakthroughs they might unlock. Every single minute that deforestation continues, plants that have never once been studied are gone forever. Not damaged, not relocated. Gone. And whatever they could have offered us disappears with them, permanently. Here's the part where the numbers stop feeling abstract and start feeling like a countdown. The Amazon is not slowly declining. It is being dismantled at a pace that should be front-page news every single day. 3 football fields of rainforest are destroyed every minute. Not every hour. Every minute. Do the math on that, and the scale becomes genuinely difficult to process. Since 1978, an estimated 750,000 square kilometers of Amazon rainforest have been destroyed. That is an area larger than the entire country of Chile, erased in less than 50 years. And the rate is not slowing down. Research tracking land surface changes from satellite imagery has shown that deforestation is not just continuing, it is accelerating. When scientists look at the data, the pattern spreading across the Amazon looks less like gradual decline and more like a contagion moving across the map. If nothing changes, the Amazon rainforest could be functionally gone within 100 years. Some researchers believe the real timeline is considerably shorter than that. Then there are the fires. In recent years, massive wildfires have added a second layer of destruction on top of everything else. But it is important to understand what the fires actually are. They are not accidents. They are not lightning strikes in a dry season. And in the overwhelming majority of cases, fires in the Amazon are set deliberately, used as a tool to clear land quickly after loggers have taken what they want. The fire is the final step in a deliberate process, not an independent disaster. That means the fires are a symptom. The disease is the economic system driving deforestation in the first place, and that system is running faster than ever. The satellite data does not lie. The maps are getting warmer. The orange tones marking forest disturbance are spreading, and the window to reverse this is getting smaller every year. So who is actually responsible for this? The honest answer is more uncomfortable than most people expect, because it is not just a story about corrupt governments or illegal loggers operating in the shadows. It is a story about an economic system that makes destroying the Amazon more profitable than saving it. And that system has players at every level, including in your own home. The three biggest drivers of deforestation are cattle ranching, soy farming, and logging. Cattle ranching alone accounts for the majority of cleared Amazon land. Forests are cut, burned, and converted into pasture. That pasture feeds cattle. That cattle becomes beef, much of it exported to global markets. Soy follows the same pattern, clearing enormous stretches of forest to feed livestock in Europe and Asia. Logging opens the roads that make all of it possible, and mining operations move in behind them. But here is the piece most people miss. Palm oil. It is in your soap, your shampoo, your bread, your chocolate, your snacks. That palm oil is in almost every consumer product you can think of, and global demand for it is enormous. That demand is directly driving deforestation not just in the Amazon, but across tropical forests worldwide. When you buy these products without asking where the ingredients come from, you are participating in the system, not as a villain, but as an uninformed consumer in a supply chain deliberately designed to keep you uninformed. Then there is the political dimension. Deforestation rates in the Amazon have historically moved in direct response to government policy. When protections are strong and enforced, deforestation slows. When political leadership deprioritizes conservation or actively weakens environmental regulations, deforestation accelerates sharply. This has been documented repeatedly across different administrations. The financial incentives to destroy the Amazon are massive, immediate, and deeply embedded in the global economy. The incentives to protect it are diffuse, long-term, and politically inconvenient. That imbalance is the real reason nobody wants to save it. Here is where the stakes stop being about trees and start being about everything. Because the Amazon is not just a forest, it is a climate system. And what happens to it does not stay in South America. It ripples outward across the entire planet in ways that are already being measured and documented. Start with carbon. The Amazon stores approximately 86 billion tons of carbon in its trees, soil, and vegetation. That carbon took centuries to accumulate. It is essentially a natural vault, locking away one of the primary drivers of climate change. As long as the forest stands, that carbon stays locked. But when trees are cleared and burned, that vault breaks open. The carbon releases into the atmosphere all at once, adding directly to the emissions that are warming the planet. Deforestation is already responsible for nearly a third of global carbon dioxide emissions. Nearly a third. That number does not come from the Amazon alone, but the Amazon is the single largest contributor. And it gets worse. A damaged Amazon does not just stop absorbing carbon, it flips. A forest that has been degraded past a certain threshold begins releasing more carbon than it absorbs, transforming from one of our most powerful climate solutions into an active contributor to the problem it was helping us contain. Scientists call this the tipping point. If enough of the Amazon is destroyed, the forest loses its ability to generate its own rainfall. It begins to dry out from the inside, and once that process begins, it becomes self-sustaining. The forest cannot recover on its own. It collapses. The implications of that collapse extend far beyond Brazil. The Amazon drives rainfall patterns across South America and influences weather systems globally. Losing it would destabilize agricultural systems that hundreds of millions of people depend on. No technology we currently possess can rebuild an ecosystem of this complexity once it is gone. That is not pessimism. That is just the science. Here is something the doom and gloom framing often leaves out. The Amazon is not finished yet, and the science, while alarming, is not entirely without reason for hope. Researchers studying tropical forest recovery have found something genuinely surprising. Given the right conditions, rainforests can come back. Not overnight and not without help, but the biological machinery for recovery is still there if we choose to use it. Studies conducted over several decades have shown that previously deforested areas, when left alone and protected, can begin regenerating naturally. If enough seedlings remain in the surrounding forest, if the soil has not been completely degraded, and if the destruction stops, the forest starts to rebuild itself. Some recovered areas have shown remarkable increases in biodiversity and carbon absorption within a few decades. The resilience of these ecosystems when given a genuine chance is real. There are also policy tools that have proven they work, and stronger land protection laws, when actually enforced, slow deforestation dramatically. Indigenous land rights are particularly significant. Research consistently shows that indigenous managed territories have some of the lowest deforestation rates in the entire Amazon. When the people who have lived in the forest for generations are given legal authority to protect it, they do. That is not a theory. That is a documented pattern across multiple countries and multiple decades. International financial mechanisms where wealthier nations compensate Amazon countries for maintaining forest cover rather than clearing it have also shown measurable results when properly funded and monitored. But here is the hard truth underneath all of this. None of it works while the destruction continues at its current pace. Regrowth cannot outrun chainsaws. Yes, recovery requires the attacks to stop first. The biological potential for the Amazon to survive is real. Whether the political and economic will to give it that chance materializes in time is an entirely different question. And that question remains genuinely open. So what can you actually do? Because at this point in the conversation, it is easy to feel like the problem is so large and so deeply embedded in global economics and politics that individual choices are essentially meaningless. That feeling is understandable. It is also incorrect. Consumer behavior at scale is one of the most powerful forces in the global economy. The companies destroying the Amazon are doing it because there is demand for what they produce. Reduce that demand, and the economic logic that drives deforestation starts to weaken. It is not instant, and it is not simple, but it is real. Start with beef. Reducing your beef consumption, particularly fast food and processed beef products, directly reduces demand for the cattle ranching that is the single biggest driver of Amazon deforestation. You do not have to eliminate it entirely. Even reducing it meaningfully makes a difference when multiplied across millions of people making the same shift. Pay attention to palm oil. Check the products you buy regularly. Look for sustainably certified palm oil labels, or choose products from companies that have made verified commitments to deforestation-free supply chains. Your purchasing decisions send a signal that corporations actually respond to, especially when those decisions are visible and collective. Reduce paper consumption where you can, and support renewable energy adoption in whatever form is available to you. Fossil fuel dependency and deforestation are connected problems, and progress on one supports progress on the other. Support organizations working directly on Amazon conservation and indigenous land rights. Financial support, even at a modest level, funds the legal battles, the monitoring operations, and the political advocacy that creates real policy change. And finally, talk about it. The Amazon is dying in a relative media silence that it does not deserve. The more people understand what is actually happening and why, the harder it becomes for the economic and political systems driving this destruction to keep operating without accountability. Your voice is part of the pressure. We started with a question. How long does it take to destroy the lungs of the planet? Now you know the answer. Not because of some unstoppable natural disaster. Not because of ignorance. Because the financial incentives to destroy the Amazon are stronger than the political will to save it. Because the system is working exactly as designed, and the design is the problem. The window to change that is real. The science says recovery is possible, the tools exist, the knowledge is there. What is missing is the collective pressure to force the people and institutions profiting from this destruction to stop. That pressure has to come from somewhere. It has to come from enough people understanding what is actually at stake and refusing to accept the silence around it. The Amazon is not gone yet, but it will be unless that changes.